Happy Monday, everybody, and I want to welcome you to Rhythm Flow Radio live stream right here on Meta, Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitter. And the name of the show is Opinion because it is Monday at 7 p.m. And you know what they say opinions are like assholes, because everybody got one. We were all born with one, and we all have. So today we have our opinions. Okay. And plus today, I didn't realize today was a holiday. Kashmir Pulaski. I forgot exactly what he did, but it was a holiday. But it's also March the 7th, which is Bloody Sunday. And if you don't know what it is, you need to Google it because it is a special day. You should remember Congressman John Lewis. It is the day that they walked across the Pettus Bridge. It's the day that they solidified voters' rights. Okay? All right. So that's a day that you should read upon and never forget. Let me bring in Brother Raymond so he can do some praying so we can get the show started. Hey, Brother Raymond, how are you?
Hey, good evening. Good evening. How y'all doing? Whew. Beautiful, beautiful. It's good to be here. I'm excited. Yes.
So you want to lead us in prayer so we can get the show started and you can tell us what you did over the weekend?
Oh, yes. Most gracious and wonderful, magnificent Father, we come to you humbly. We ask that you continue to forgive us and guide us as we go about our daily activities. Lord, we thank you in abundance and in advance for all you've done and all you will continue to do. Lord, we ask that you continue to keep us from all hurt, harm, and danger. We ask all these things in your mighty precious Son, Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
I want to say this before we get started.
Go ahead.
Because we're talking about a political issue, Facebook probably has hid this show. So nobody probably will hear it. They have a habit of hiding shows that deal with political. I shouldn't say that, but it's the truth. God knows it is. If you get a show that deals with political issues, they hide it. If you make a reel that deals with political issues, they hide it.
Hello.
So we don't have what they call freedom of speech. It's freedom of their speech if they let you have it. I'm sorry, I had to say that. Forgive me. Now, how was your weekend, Brother Raymond?
It was great. I had a great weekend. I had a beautiful, beautiful weekend. I had got a chance to relax and reflect on some things that I really want to do. And so, with that being said, I was able to look up some things that I need to look up. I was able to complete some work that I didn't complete. And so, with that being said, I was great. I got a chance to give me a full workout in. I didn't have to rush. I got to relax and just get my mind together. Because sometimes peace be still and a peace of mind is all we really need. So I just had a relaxing weekend. Magnificent. The wifey was out of town, so I had the old house to myself. I watched plenty of sports. And that was it. Just had a nice, good time, relaxation. Yeah. Yep. What did you do?
What did you watch? What did you watch? Basketball or football?
Yeah, basketball all weekend. College
Oh, okay,
and pros. College and pros.
okay. I'm not a real sports fan, but I mean, if I have to talk about something, then I try to watch it. But before we get into the meat of the show, did you watch the Chris Rock special?
Oh yeah, I did watch that. I watched the
I
Chris.
just had to ask.
I watched the special. I watched most of it. I fell asleep at
Uh-huh.
the end last night. I fell asleep, so I had to watch the rest of it, the ending of it.
What can I mean, I was just wondering, what was your opinion?
Oh, I liked it. I loved it. It was
Did
great.
you? Okay, okay.
From beginning to end, he stood up. He did his thing. Chris has always been articulate with his words and how he do it and how he
Mm-hmm.
pronounced it and stuff. And he was funny. He's funny as hell. I was laughing
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, okay, So yeah, pretty good to me. I liked it. I liked it.
You
And
know,
that's just my opinion, y'all. I liked it.
a lot of people had mixed opinions. A lot of people thought he was being mean, to Jada. But
Oh wow.
I don't know. I guess if they really listened to it, I thought he was doing social issues 101, and I thought he was I thought he was doing comedic post. I mean, a comedic.
Yeah, he's to switch up. He's switching it up. He'd be really good at that. He can switch it up. So
I
that's
thought he was doing it with a comedic twist, as he was. I thought he talked about social issues, and he put a twist on it
he
because
did.
there was nothing that he didn't cover.
Yeah, he did. He put a lot of stuff out there, and he put that Chris Rock twist on it. So it's pretty good to me. I liked it. So yeah, I'm gonna
Okay,
watch it
well,
again tonight.
I won't talk about it. I won't talk about it too much because that's another show.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So We're here to talk about how did Paul Vallas, how did he become the front runner? And who is he?
Okay.
I mean, he's been around a while.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has. Yeah. Yes, he has. He's definitely been around.
I mean, he's ran for mayor before. I think he's even ran. Didn't he run for lieutenant governor?
Yeah, he ran for lieutenant governor. He was a CPS chief,
I mean,
CEO.
he's been head of the school board.
Right, right, right. Mhm.
But how did he end up being the number one, the front runner in Chicago? How did he end up in that position?
Well, Katie, as you well know, it stems from a few things. Um, his political background, because he had political aspirations, and we have to understand that our city is still racist and it's
Hmm.
segregated and it's divided. So, with
Okay.
that being said, when he threw his head in because he felt he'll make a better mayor than Lori Lightfoot, which they all did, right? And because Lori wouldn't play ball with certain individuals, then they all jumped on the bandwagon and backed Paul Vallas. Talking about the police department, you know, some politicians as well, you know, and it's a political machine behind him. I want y'all to be unaware of that. It's a political machine behind this man. He ain't just anybody. He
Hmm.
didn't just pop up and come up out the sewer. He has a political machine behind him that is steering and guiding towards him becoming the mayor of Chicago. So, and I ain't gonna mention no names, but I'm gonna say he got some very powerful people backing him. We ain't even gonna talk. The police department is nothing compared to all the people he got backing him on the political side. So it's a machine. And anybody know what the machine is, they should know what the machine is. And you got to be on the team to be in the machine.
Can I say this?
Mhm. Sure.
You said, well, I mean, I know he has the Fraternal Order of Police came out backing him
Yeah, that's not.
right out the gate.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and they had a lot of issues with Mayor Lightfoot. Period.
Of course.
Um, what's his name? Costanza? Is that how you pronounce it?
Costanza, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and he was reelected as president of the FOP.
Yeah. Yeah.
By 57% of the
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah.
And plus, he's a very controversial figure.
Yes, sir.
He has a polarizing personality.
Say the least.
Okay. So, I mean, that kind of tells you something, you know?
Yes, it does. It really does. It explains to what we're up against now. What we're up against now. They're racist,
Mm-hmm.
very racist, to the point to where, you know, it doesn't matter who's in that office, real talk.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be the same people they are, the FOP. And they're going to continue to go by the blue code while they talk about the street codes and the gang codes. Let's talk about the police codes that they go by and that they don't never change and they don't waver for, and they throw civilians under the bus as well. So Paul has their vote because they couldn't persuade Lori to do what they wanted to do. So when Lori didn't back them, she made an all-out enemy, and they let it be known in the gate. This wasn't no secret. Everybody knew that the police and the Fraternal Order police was against Lori Lightfoot, and they would do anything they could to get her out of that office. And so that's one piece of it. But then the president of it is racist, and he don't have his racism. He don't have his prejudice.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't hide it at all.
He don't have it at all. So that's another thing. So that's saying a few things about it as well. So how can I have these people backing me, and I'm telling the people to trust me?
Mm-hmm.
We ain't even get to the sex scandal yet. I'm gonna read that for you. But I'm talking about
what?
The sex scandal. We ain't even got to that yet.
Wait a minute. What sex scandal?
It was a sex scandal while he was the CEO of the board of election of the school board. Yeah. So, and how tragically that whole case ended. I'm gonna read it to you. You want me to read it to you?
Yes, I do, because I mean, that is something that
So we're gonna get right to it. Get right to the meat.
You just threw me right under the bus.
No, I'm just keeping it real, because here it is. You trying to validate yourself, but you putting yourself in the same hot water that you did years ago. So here it goes. It
Okay,
says Chicago Mayor candidate Paul Vallas has come under fire for the failure of his administration to launch an investigation into how a pedophile became a trusted mentor at a West Side elementary school after sex abuse crimes committed by the school employee and volunteer came to light 18 years ago, while Vallas was the city's top school official.
Mm-hmm.
Fellow mayor candidate Lori Lightfoot and Gary McCarthy criticized Vallas on Thursday for not opening an investigation into the abuse of students by students by Marvin Lowe, who has been accused in lawsuits of sexually assaulting at least, check this out, 19 boys while he was a volunteer and employee at Johnson Elementary School in North Lawndale.
Wow.
Lovett was shot to death in April 2000 by a teenage student he abused for 5 years. And his acts represented the largest known case of sexual abuse involving a Chicago public school worker, volunteer, or vendor in recent decades. And I ain't even read it all.
Let me ask you this. So during the election, why come nobody brought that up?
Well, it was brought up, but I don't think it's brought up in the capacity that it needed to be brought up with. And I think that Lori should have used this as a little leverage for herself. But nevertheless, not only do the world knows, but the so-called who is who knows as well. See, it goes all the way back to Bill Cosby. Remember we talking about Bill Cosby and how things go, how it go. As long as you ain't one of the good old boys. See, Bill Cosby and R. Kelly were one of the good old boys, so of course they got through under the bus. But as you can see, I just read this, and nobody said a word about this. And if they did say something, they didn't say it to the effect where they will make the people actually listen. And then here again, the youth didn't come out and vote like they should have, and so that propelled.
I don't know why Jamal Green didn't use this. I mean, you had all these other, you had what, 8 other candidates that were running for mayor?
Yeah, and so they was doing the middle age. So he went with the middle age and the older crowd, and they backed him. And this is and we talking about gentrification as well. See, on the near north side and in the city of Chicago is gentrification, because where there was, as where I did my show, where there were urban communities, now there are white communities. And that's from North Lawndale all the way back to Cabrini. Gentrification is real, and it's taking its toll on the city, and they showing up in abundance numbers, and that's why they building all these fancy condos and all that. It's called like New City. It was on YouTube before, and I think when people started to understand what New City was, they took it down, because New City was desolated land where they built around it. And so the people that lived on the desolated land, they built all around it, made it nice and pretty, and then they came right down the middle and they pushed them out. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. In Cabrini, at the end of our row houses, they just put up a brand new hotel.
A brand new what?
Hotel. A 40-some story hotel. Now, keep in mind, they said they tore down the projects because the story was too high. Right. But it ain't high enough for them. It was just too high for black folk, and how much we was getting away with stuff, and they couldn't catch the dope dealers and all that and so on and so forth, right? So they used that. So now let's look at this. They built that up there, right? Then all down Chicago Avenue, they rebuilt it, right? Now, keep in mind, Lori just approved for the casino to go up.
Absolutely.
And that's right around the corner from Cabrini, right? And then right down the street on Halsted, in the middle of Halsted, will be a brand new Vallas, right?
Right, absolutely.
So you think about all this new stuff is coming around this community and what it's going to entail, right?
Hold on, Professor just logged in.
Oh, okay, good. So this is what we're talking about when we're talking about this here, right? So now, with that being said, they're gonna slowly, or they might fastly, push them people out of that. And in any areas where gentrification is presiding, they're going to push us out. That's why we're getting vouchers to different cities and states where we can go and live. We even get vouchers in the suburbs because it's coming around full circle. Remember, back in the day, Professor, you can remember this. The white people went to the suburbs to get away from us. Now that it's flooding and eroding, now they want to come back to the city and they're going to push us out there where they was for us. So this is what's happening right now. And with Paul Vallas, I don't even understand how a machine can get behind someone that a case this detrimental was. The sex abuse was so real that you see the young man killed him, that he sexually abused 5 years ago. He came and he came and found this man. And when he caught him, he killed him. He gunned him down because he had violated this young man. And it seemed like there's nothing to be said. Now, isn't this the same identical thing they were talking about with R. Kelly? Isn't it the same practically identical thing they were talking about with Bill Cosby? So now you look at it and say, but
during the
check it out. Vallas is white.
But during the election, my thing is none of the other candidates talked about this.
Well,
they did during that election. They had the opportunity to bring this to the open and talk about this and speak on this before they ever voted, and they didn't.
But he declined. He declined
to think about.
And let me share this with you. Vallas initially declined to interview in response to the Tribune investigation. He don't even want to talk about that. He don't even talk about that.
But you don't have to talk about it. You're running for mayor of the city of Chicago, and this is a known story, documented. It's the truth.
Yes, it is.
Any of those 7 other candidates could have bought this up and put it in his face. The other 6, the other 7, they could have bought this up over and over again. They threw bullets at Lori right and left. But nobody threw that bullet at Paul Vallas. Why?
I couldn't even begin to answer. Maybe Professor can answer it. I can't begin to answer.
Because it was set up in the first place.
Okay.
You think he was paying somebody?
Go ahead, Professor.
It was a setup from the beginning, from the very beginning. The other day we were talking. I mentioned that they had sleepers in the race, and people were getting paid off and all of that. So that's why you didn't have a frontal attack. Dallas came out and just didn't even talk about what he was going to do for the city. All he was going to do is protect the city and make the police department accountable. But he also, on the other hand, was denying any kind of association or affiliation with the FOP, who came out openly and endorsed him. It's a lot of deception going on, cutthroat politics. A lot of people got paid. And if you get paid, you just do what you have to do, and that's keep your constituents satisfied and happy, thinking they supporting you, and they're not. That's why I mentioned the other day that the best thing they could do is get the candidates that were white to come together at the table and form a coalition, but that's not likely to happen.
No, and then not only that, Professor, you have a lot of groups black groups who has just openly jumped out and jumped behind Vallas, saying they're going to support him because they tired of the same old, and things of that nature. And so I was like, I was floored when I seen it, and I can't say I was surprised because, as you stated earlier, they get paid for this. So, and it's a dirty cutthroat game. So, if he make a deal or made a deal with them to do whatever it is that they perceive for him to do, then I think that's how it's going. I don't know. Don't pretty much too much care about how they make their deals, but I'm saying for the people deserve some honesty and a new fresh breath of fresh air and new way of doing things in Chicago. Now, with that also being said, Professor, I can't even say that Lori did a terrible job because she didn't. Because if you look at the records and you put every mayor before her record against hers, she did a great job accordingly to the records, right? Now,
Well,
because
it's
huh?
understandable form of government. There's not very much that the mayor can do anyway. And Lori went in, if she did anything, she stood up in the face of people and told them that she wasn't going to be business as usual. She was going to advance some ideas or whatever that she humbly and sincerely believed that she could accomplish. But she had a whole lot of people working against it because the coalitions had already been formed and the lines had been drawn among the people in terms of voting districts and everything else. People getting promises and getting paid
Mm-hmm.
and doing the things they want to do and cutting the deals in the back room, with no intention of representing the people, the public at large, the general population. All the it's segregation. They got two different kinds of segregation. They got de facto segregation and de jure. Chicago is an interesting combination of both.
Mm. Okay. Okay. So let me ask you this. So now they're saying Brother Brandon Johnson is the Chicago Teachers Union. He's their puppet, right?
Yep.
And so they don't want to back him because of that. But you're back.
Wait a minute. If Brandon Johnson is a puppet for the Chicago Teachers Union, who is Vallas a puppet for? Big business and the FOP?
But this is what it's looking like. This is what it's drawn
Okay,
out to. So, and people are throwing darts. This race is going to come down to the people. Now, and I'm saying this to everybody. This is going to come down to the people. Who do you want to see at the helm of the city of Chicago? Now, I don't know because I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm going to say this. As you said, Professor, all the other leading candidates that was in the race, they need to galvanize with Brother Brendan if we're going to secure a win. But we know it's a divide and conquer, so it's going to be some that's going to go with him, and there's going to be some that's not. So even with that strategy, it's going to come down to the youth. It's going to come down to the young adults coming out to vote. And we were talking about this, me and my buddy Radell, and we were both saying that most of our young adults are afraid to come out. Not just because of the vote, because of whatever they got going on, and they don't feel safe. So they'll say, forget it. I ain't voting. It don't matter. But it really does matter. And we, the people, need to exercise and advocate to let them know just how important this is and just how much important their vote is. Because if we don't do that, then they think it's something now. And they were saying this is just part of what's going to happen across the country, not just in Chicago. This is going to be a landslide across the country with these type of people getting in office, and then we're going to see another uprising, which is already in play. That's all I can say.
I was watching Good Morning America the day after the election,
Mm-hmm.
and they were talking about the difference between Brandon Johnson and Paul Vallas. And really, people need to educate the public on what defunding the police means, because a lot of people I think that defunding the police means taking money from the police department. It means shifting money to other resources. They have a whole different look, understanding of what that means.
Uh-huh.
And on Good Morning America, they they let people know that there's a crime problem all over the United States. It's not
Yes, it is.
just in Chicago.
Exactly.
This is all over the United States, this crime problem. It is not just here where we live at. You
Right.
know, we are the ones that are, I guess you can say, we
Publicized.
are the ones who are in the news all the time.
We stay on the screen, on the big
We
screen. It's
stay
like it's
we
a movie.
stay on the big screen. We just like a movie. We should get an Academy Award.
Exactly.
But this problem
Well,
is
when it comes down to the word justice, most of the time that's just what it is. It's just
It's just
us.
us. That's what it is. That's what all
And
it is. Just us.
that's what I used to use a textbook called Democracy for the Few in the classes in politics, and it probably came closer than any of the other textbooks to really telling the truth about what's going on in the system, what's always going on here. Uh, Cloak and dagger politics, as they call it, and uh, when it comes down to you go along to get along. It's been a big fear ever since the emancipation and all of that, that the numbers themselves of African Americans or Black people or people of color would eventually overrule all of the chicanery and tricks that the controlling individuals in government have been using to maintain their positions. And that's what one of the frustration across the nation is that everybody now has the opportunity to log in, so to speak, on their phones, and they stay on the phone now. Uh, the cell phone and the internet and laptops and all of these things are
Yeah.
readily available, and people can research things as they say. Whereas it took days before, months before, in some area of the country, some people stayed behind years and years. Now they know time it happens. People taking pictures of officers beating up folk, where it used to take a television station had to come in and take the picture and then edit it and see what they were going to broadcast and all of that. That's not that's not even happening anymore. And so the truth is out there, and people are angry. Young people especially are angry because they say we're not going back to that anymore. They know the truth, and all I could hear uh, about Paul Vallas's excellent record in public service and what he's done for all of these schools that he went to and whatever. The only thing I'm gonna ask is that when are we gonna stop overlooking things that people do because we have to accept it at face value of what folks say. But as soon as we do something minutely similar to what these people have been getting away with, they crucify us.
Exactly. And that was my point, Professor, because here you was the head of the school board and you turned your back on all these students all across Chicago when they were telling you it was something going on. And because you didn't, let me say this, and I'm going to say it like it is, because they wasn't white students, it went on deaf ears. And so even with more than one student coming and saying, this guy is not right, he's doing something, he's touching, he's fiddling with us, and nothing happened. The whole board itself didn't do anything. So, but he's the head of it. So he has the ultimate power to put an investigation out there, and he didn't do it. And it led to that young man who was abused, found him, and he killed him. And so he betrayed the trust of our children, if nothing else, which will be lingering on for decades and decades to come. And as you stated earlier, Professor, that's the reason why the kids ain't messing with us, because they know the truth. Like, no, these people don't mean us no good. So at the end of the day, they don't care about us anyway. We don't care about them. We're going to live our life. We're going to do what we do. And this is how we're going to carry it out. But we, the people and the parents, have to re-educate our youth and young adults on what's really going on and why they have power, and they are being heard, and people do understand what they're going through. And this will help propel in this election that's to come, because we're going to need all hands on deck for this one here, because again, he has the political machine behind him as well, not just the FOP. He has powerful politicians that's behind him, that's backing him. So they're saying too, F our children, that happened 18 years ago. Okay, and I'm going to go back to it again. How long ago did it happen with Bill Cosby? Y'all brought it up on the forefront, and y'all got all on top of it. Y'all took that man to jail. Y'all treated him, threw him under the bus, and so on and so forth. So if what's worse, knowing that someone is abusing children and you're not doing about it, it's no better than you being the abuser yourself. And that's just my opinion.
Well, one thing that makes me very uneasy about Vallas is that his service record in some services he rendered in Louisiana, down in the very area where the heart of the Klan comes from. And if he went down there and worked, and I mean, what David Dukes and all of those people are from,
Yeah, yeah,
if he went down there and was accepted by those people, I mean, when did he hang his robot?
exactly.
Or
And
did
then
he
look at
hang?
his eyes. Look at his eyes
Yeah,
when he's talking. Look at him, how he was standing there, and he because he it's like he already knew that we're
yeah,
not
because
equipped enough.
he probably got back. Trump has been in the cut for a long time since he was trying to come up here
Mm-hmm.
and do and slap all of us in the face who said that we weren't supporting him. He was gonna bring his horse and buggy show up to Chicago, and you remember they rejected him. They found a way to get the tickets, and he wasn't gonna have all those people behind him with the red caps on. So what did he do? He decided that he wasn't gonna come. It wasn't wholesome for him to come. He waited until they had a police convention here, and that's the only time he came and made any kind of address in Chicago publicly. And so he's still trying to have major influence in governmental areas, even from local offices all the way through the congressional and senatorial races or whatever.
but he does, and we're not awoken to the plot that's going on, because it's not about Vallas. It's about who's pulling Vallas's strings. And as you just talked about, the orange man has a lot of power. He plays dumb,
He don't
but he
have
has
the power that he used to have, though.
huh?
The
Yes, he
orange,
does.
he don't have the power that he used to have. That he
Yes,
used to have.
yes,
Oh,
he
but
does.
that's the thing, and that's just what they said. The devil pulled the greatest trick and making us believe it was a lie. He's pulling the strings with Vallis and them and all these other people across the country, and he's saying it's your turn to step up to the plate now, and we'll back you. So I can't get in the front of it, so I get behind it. So he'll put the monies where it needs to be in order to have the Republicans to dominate in different areas of the United States. And I'm looking at it now as like, okay. Now, even with that, we are still our people just won't unite. And I just got to say that. We won't, Katie Lowe, we won't unite for nothing. And we will fall for anything, and we'll take them crumbs that they given us and run with it like we really did something.
Well,
I got mine, you got to get yours. The Tupac and MCA. That it's so sad that here's a man
they
turned
showed
his
you
back
that
on our
during the
children.
mayor. They showed you that during the mayoral election. That they won't stand
Right.
together.
But he turned his back on our children 18 years ago. What makes you think he won't do it now? When the school system's already failing, they're not doing nothing already. And then not only that, when we look at he said he's gonna stand up on the police department. He's not. Come on, man. Really? Are you really trying to
He's
shoot
in
up
the
that
bed
track?
with him. He's in the bed with him.
But that's what I'm saying. So he's a better candidate. This is what our so-called some black leaders are saying. He's a better candidate. Well, hell, now I got the question: what kind of candidate was you?
Well, the thing that our people
It's
tend to
crazy.
want to do is figure that they can appeal to the conscience of people who have no conscience. And so there are people out there who believe that if Vallas gets in the office, they can get him to make some concessions, and he'll have enough control or connections across the board to get some
Yeah,
things done they want to get done. And that's not so. Those people have made it up in their minds. It's gonna you go with the program, over. And either way, you're gonna still get left behind.
and I just want to know what makes them think that he's going to change for them if he is elected mayor.
All of those under the table
It's right.
backdoor deals.
But this is this. Now here you go. Here you go. Take your change and get on out my face.
Right.
Now the whole politics, then they'll see now, oh man, I woulda, shoulda, coulda. That's what folks always say. But we sitting here, okay, Brendan is fresh. Brendan Johnson, a breath of fresh air.
Definitely.
It's
Definitely.
new, it's growth, it's creativity there. So we should be looking at that. We study putting the same old people in there. Okay, he's got credentials, he's got this, he's got that, she's got this, she's got that. Brandon is fresh. So we can have Brandon.
Well, the only thing I think our people need to be cautious about is being sold out up front and
A
not
new
realizing that
Chicago, not the same old Chicago. We need a new Chicago, and I just believe that Brandon Johnson is the perfect candidate for this. And I think that the people should rally behind him and do it. Because Katie Lowe, if they don't, they're gonna be mad. They're gonna be kicking themselves in the ass. So I'm gonna say it like that.
yeah, but because what they really are trying to do, Lori Lightfoot carried almost all of the awards in
He
the
did.
South
He
and West.
actually did.
Mhm.
You're
And
right.
so And so now there's going to be an infighting going on as to who's going to get a share of her votes
That's
to
right.
come their way. And
Mhm.
because they're going to have them to win. They're either going to have them to come out and go their way or stay at home and don't vote.
And
Yeah.
you know what? You know what? These were some of the lowest voter turnout.
Turnout. Exactly.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. In some of these wards where there were 50, 60, 70,000 votes, there were only like 3 or 4,000 people that came out and voted.
Yeah. Yeah. And they play on that.
Unbelievable.
They play on that, Katie Lowe. They know that. They already know that.
But the aldermen should be kicked in the behind
Yeah, the
Why?
aldermen are the one that the other ones were aldermen
because
were
they
They
in.
should
part of the machine.
they
That's
should
they're part
you
of
know
the.
what? And they didn't care whether they got the vote out or not because they were up for re-election.
Mhm.
Ah,
See, it's
you know
divide and
what?
conquer. If you so focused on this, you ain't focused on that.
That's right.
So now
Uh-huh.
they done got in, they done slid in. Now they can slid in, they got back in. Now they can alliance with who they want to alliance with, which nine
It was
times out of 10,
it was just went through and I looked at and I just couldn't believe with all these registered voters, you had some wards where there were 3,000, maybe 4,000, maybe
mhm,
2,000.
yes, because we're not understanding the importance of voting. And they got it fixed in their mind that they don't make a difference. So that's going to take the parents, it's going to take the elected officials, it's going to take the community leaders to awaken our people, let them know that your vote, and your voice does count. You have to get out and make it count. And if you don't make it count, then you can't complain about what goes on in your city, what goes on in your neighborhood, what goes on in the community,
And
because you
you're right
didn't
about
vote,
that.
because you didn't care about what happened. So don't why you want to care about it now? Don't care about it when it show up on your door either. See, this is the thing that it really teased me off with that, because we'll sit there, it ain't gonna make no difference, and I don't care, and I ain't voting. Okay, but you ain't voting. But have that same energy when something happens to you, when you want people to come out and help and rally around you for whatever cause it may be, because guess what? It's coming. And I hate to say that, but it's coming, because we're putting ourselves we study digging ourselves in a political hole year after year. This young man is a breath of fresh air. Did nobody say he was perfect? God did not put one perfect creature on the earth. But we do know he don't have all them tricks and scams up his sleeve, and he can go with some new creativity, new life, and new direction. And this is where Chicago needs to be going right now, as opposed to the same old. Now we get Vallas, we're gonna get the same old, same old.
Yes,
It's gonna be the
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
that's the way it's set up to work, because believe it or not, a tremendous amount of money, no matter how they gripe about businesses or whatever, a
Yeah,
tremendous amount of money gets spent here in Chicago, and it has an impact on not just the areas around Chicago, but on other states. And so when you turn to it's like that shark thing I was talking about the other day. A lot of the things that the shark could probably eat as food find a way to attach themselves to the shark where he can't turn around and eat them. So they feed off of him. And that's what Chicago is, a big shark with a bunch of leeches attached to it.
yeah. I just think that Lori Lightfoot, Jamal Green, and whoever else, I don't know the rest of them too much. They need to galvanize with Brandon Johnson and help bring this thing on home. Because they all talking about fresh start. They all talking about the youth. And if this is what you care about so dearly, then now's the time for you to put up or shut up. Because although Lori Lightfoot was ousted, we never heard of that. But now is the time Not only for her still have her political powers, she can make things still happen, even without her being the mayor, and she'll have more power and more influence with that. And I just believe with her, Jamal, and they galvanize and create this team, then they can move forward. They can move this agenda forward, and then that way, Lori can help out, Jamal can help out, and whoever else wants to participate, they can help out with helping Brandon Johnson move the city forward. That's just my belief. It's my opinion. It's called opinions. This is mine, ladies and gentlemen. Because at the end of the day, Professor and Katie Lowe, we need some change. That's the problem. And when they weren't going to take it from Lori, because Lori was first black female, and then she was openly gay. So they didn't want to hear that because they couldn't fix, manage, and control her. So now they had to get rid of her. Now we have an opportunity for a young man with fresh ideas to come in and lead this city to some new heights. And he has some help from his fellow comrades to help him out. And I believe they can make this work. It can start the process of change and the process of healing. I'm telling you, man, it just aches me that, it's just sad how we have to sit back and watch this thing unfold because of, and let me say this too, and I'm gonna be quiet. The machine don't always work.
No.
I'm gonna put it out there. The machine don't always work. And then you look at who is it working for? Because it sure ain't working for the people.
No. It works primarily to control and pacify people and with little things that don't really matter anyway, like you call it the crumbs, that people out there fighting over the crumbs like it's big parts of money.
Exactly.
While nothing's being done. I heard none of the candidates talk about the real things that's going on in Chicago that people should be concerned about. All they talked about was crime. And they're the reasons for the crime. The machine people who support guns, guns being carried and automatic weapons or whatever,
right.
They're actually part of the problem. But they're not going to admit that. They're going to say it's the people who are out there and try to narrow it down and put the blame on people who probably have the fewest amount of guns and probably the worst guns that are out there on the market right now, because all the guns that are in the black community are not those fancy high-powered weapons that cost $5,000 and $6,000 a piece. You don't have that kind of money.
Well,
some of them are pretty high-powered.
They have upgraded their game, but again, it comes with the power of the government. Because where the hell do you get a gun that you can add a switch to it that can shoot off 60 rounds in a minute? Come on, man. That's not president. You don't see it in the white communities. Why is it in our community?
Yeah, because see, they're the ones who are. This is retribution for the lies that they were telling about when
right. But what we were saying was our people has high power guns now, and as you can see, unfortunately, that officer lost his life with one of those guns just a few days ago. That young man had one of them high power guns, and he was scared probably, but nevertheless. Look at the type of gun that young man had and how many rounds it went off. And he don't know where he was shooting at. He probably wasn't even trying to, but it was close. Yeah. And it was me or you. So while he got hit too, the ultimate sacrifice for his life was to take the officer out with him. And unfortunately, he did. And he's probably still on the respirator fight for his life, if I understand that right. But at the end of the day, our people need to wake up.
And to the same laws that they are fighting against, okay?
Because we always talk about we're not getting no justice, and if it's just us, then let us be just us.
Mm-hmm.
Because
But
we, the
anyway,
people, can change the politicians and all of that. We can
I
change the
shared
outcome
this.
of anything if we stand together.
I shared this link here. This is the link. This is how you follow the money in Illinois. Okay. You
Oh,
want to
okay.
follow the money and you want to see who it's coming from and who they giving it to. This is the link right here.
Yeah.
So you can take this link and
It
copy
made me
this
mad,
link,
Professor. I want to fly to Chicago and throw my hat in. Hey, let's get it.
and all you got to do is click on this link, and I tell you, you can open up, as they say, a whole new world. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
you
I'm
can
definitely going on there and find out, and we're
go
gonna be
on.
talking
Hey,
about this.
go on there, and you'll see. Listen, you wouldn't believe. Now they didn't give Pope Willie Wilson nothing.
And that's another one I think need to get with Brandon Johnson, Willie
They
Wilson
didn't
as
give
well.
Willie Wilson nothing, but you wouldn't believe some of them other candidates they gave money to. That's why I say,
Yeah,
mm.
you
Some
know.
of
So,
them didn't have no money, but they gave them money to stay in the race.
and like he
Yeah,
said,
but
Professor said that was the part of the plot. So if you can
right.
divide and conquer and split the votes,
Absolutely.
then whoever I want to win will have a better chance of winning because the blacks fighting against their little votes, and while they fighting over their votes, we're gonna calculate all these white votes, and we're gonna go in there, and with the small 2% of the black votes, we'll be the front runners, and that's how
And
Paul
that's
Vallas is
how
front
it,
runner right
hey,
now.
and that might be how Paul Vallas became the front runner.
That's how.
Okay.
That's
No,
how.
that ain't no might be. That's how he got in because
I don't know. It's just an opinion.
This your opinion? Okay, then it's my
well,
opinion too.
Just
it's
an
my opinion as
opinion.
well. And we can keep on looking at the thing that as it goes on. Is when they have the backroom meetings or whatever, they are negotiating what part of the voting population they want that's going to take to make them win. And, and people don't understand that. All they know is they ask people, so most people wait until they're at the polls to ask who to vote for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They have, they have,
that does happen. That does happen a lot. It does
and then so they use a thing called a sample ballot to
Yeah,
garner votes and count the votes before people go and make them. Because
Ooh,
of course
ooh,
they
ooh.
put the money up for transportation to the polls and everything
yeah.
else they can do.
That's like we're going to have to do with the youth. We got to roll them on out there and take them there, and so they can vote, man, and
Okay,
check
everybody
them
give
votes in
your
Cook County Jail too.
excuse me, everybody give your last comment.
This is mine because I got to get out of here. I think that all them candidates who lost the race should
Hmm.
galvanize behind and with Brandon Johnson and help bring this thing home. Because if it don't, we're not gonna see change in Chicago. That's my opinion.
Okay.
And I feel like that you have to put personality differences aside. Sure, you were in the race and you ran the race or whatever, but you influenced the number of people who came out and voted for you. Now go back to those same people and tell them we want to win and we want to support our own people running in the race. Otherwise, it's going to be hopeless. We would have gotten tricked the same way we've been getting tricked all of the years that politics has been going on.
Yeah. Yep.
My name is Katie Lowe. You've been listening to Rhythm Flow Radio live stream right here on Meta, Facebook Live, YouTube, and Spreaker. My opinion is your vote is your vote. It's your right to cast your vote any way you want to. All I say is before you cast your vote, study the candidate and cast your vote for the candidate of your choice. And we will see you next week. Oh no, we'll see you. Listen to me. We will see you Friday
Yes.
right here on Meta Facebook Live, YouTube, and Spreaker with a conversation with Brother Raymond. I don't know what the topic will be, but we will see. All right. And I want to say, everybody, have a happy Monday evening and good night.
Good night. Peace.